I just pushed out a really hard fart, yeah.
You're gonna shit yourself in that chair.
We've been recording the whole time. What up? It's TWB. Back at it. It's been a little hiatus. We've been away for quite some time, but we're on the gang, right?
What is up, guys?
Wait, where are we at?
Generic intro
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom.
Of the trap house.
of the trap house.
But we've replaced our member, so welcome, Morgan.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy.
Awkward. All right, so
Very awkward. It's your boy Skinny Chode.
you just said that.
I did double.
Fuck it.
Anyways, so I thought a good leeway to introduce everyone to Morgan would be a funny story. So we went skiing the other, a couple days ago, 4 days ago, 5 days ago?
It was about a week. Yeah.
It was a week.
So,
Saturday.
Morgan, I just want you to explain
Close enough.
everything that happened to skiing. The most notable.
So, it was about a 2-hour trip from the trap house. We all came together and we decided let's go on a little snowboarding ski trip. No one actually skied. We all snowboard because we're not jerks. We don't do that.
Grandeur. Yeah.
So we drove about a couple hours out to what was it? Round Top, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
This is a resort.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It was a decent drive. It wasn't bad. Barely any traffic.
Hot Cheetos on the way.
Lots of hot Cheetos and cereal on the way. Stopped for a bunch of snacks at the local Rofo.
By the way, nobody asked for this story of how we got there. Just want to point that out.
We're starting it out easy.
I've lived from beginning to end.
Might as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Better story. Give the people what they want.
All right, so we get there. We understood that
I
we were in
feel
the
like
car.
Morgan was on the story.
I know, I'm just helping him here.
No.
I don't need
the scene.
help.
We get there.
I'm not slow. I'm pretty fast.
Before timeout. Interjection.
You know.
We leave the house. We leave the trap house. Get to Royal Farms.
Okay.
Hear a little noise from the back seat. I forgot my fidget spinner.
That was me. And we were probably 30 seconds from home.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't turn around 'cause
Rode
we're
right
fake.
past it.
Pretty fake.
We get there, we get at Round Top, and we're getting out of the car, and everybody at that point, because we didn't stop for any bathroom breaks, we just took the 2-hour drive straight there, no bathroom breaks, no anything, we just stopped to get gas before we left. Well, we left, and we stopped immediately after we left to get gas, just to make it easier. We got there, and everyone had to pee, so they all ran to the nearest side of the hill, to the closest bush, and we're peeing as families were walking by, kids and parents were walking by, pointing. The kids were pointing at us, peeing, and that we just were unfazed at that point.
There was a paintball course back there too.
Oh yes,
That's where I went to go pee. It was a
You peed on the
course.
paintball
Yeah,
course.
so we were peeing on the paintball course, you know,
Drip.
just getting the course nice and ready for
The
the
wind coming at me.
for the
We
players
should
during
go
the summer.
paintballing there.
Dude, we
There's probably
should.
closer paintball
Yeah, there's
places.
close. There's places there.
Dude, we should.
Paintball
That'd be
be
so
fun.
much fun.
Alright, anyways, we get there. Alright, boring stuff happens, filling out papers, but funny thing happened while we're filling out papers. I'm sitting there getting changed. I didn't need to fill out papers because I didn't have to run anything. Colin comes running over to me, and he's like, Shane, I need your help. Made it sound like an emergency. Like, I literally, like, him running over there, I was like, what happened? Like, did someone get hurt? Someone die? Like, I don't know why. I get up and walk over there, and he points at the thing that says license number, and he's like, do I put my license number here? And I was like, of course you do. I came back, and I was like, you really should call me over for that. And then, anyways, we get out on the slopes, and so, mind you, only about 2 or 3 of us out of the 6, 7, was it 6? I don't know.
Oh no, there actually is a fun. Let me intervene on that one. Everyone's getting their paper signed. They're renting their stuff.
7 of us.
I didn't. A couple people changed at the car when we got out. I didn't. I had all my stuff in a book bag, and I decided. I also had to go to the bathroom, but I wasn't peeing out in that cold near the bushes where kids and parents could see me because I have some respect, not much, but some, just enough. So I decided to go ahead, fill out all the papers, buy my ticket and stuff, and then run to the bathroom, go to the bathroom and change. I get to the bathroom, and then there's this kid in the bathroom, and I'm sitting there for maybe, I'm counting it out, probably like 10, 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden I can hear him tapping on his phone, and all of a sudden my neck, my back starts playing. And I'm sitting there, and I'm recording it on my phone, because it's the funniest freaking thing in the world.
Wait, what?
And,
How do you tell me this about this at the time?
And, I'm just sitting there. I didn't say anything. I was just gonna let it play through. He's sitting there like he's not even doing anything. He's just sitting on the toilet. Like I can see his pants and
Would
underwear.
you like break your neck, lean down to the
No, I'm standing there and like the stall door is pretty small, so like you can see like people's ankles and stuff. And his pants are sitting down at his ankles. And obviously my common sense. He's sitting on the toilet, and I can hear him tapping on his phone. My back starts playing, and I'm sitting there like, oh my god, this is gonna be forever. Little do I know, his mom walks into the bathroom and starts screaming at him to come on. And so he's yelling at his mom like every privileged white kid does. He's like, all right, mom, hold on, I'm almost done. Little did he know, I'm sitting right there waiting. He thought he was the only one in the bathroom. He walks out after another like 10-15 minutes. He's like, oh. And just looks at me. He gives me like a death stare and just walks right out.
What's those awkward things when there's other people in the bathroom?
Yeah, no,
it was a very awkward situation to be in.
It was really weird.
I don't know, it was like social anxiety, but the second someone else in the bathroom, I just feel uncomfortable.
And the entire time we like, as soon as I got done changing and we rented our stuff and we were all getting like our boots on and stuff and getting our snowboards ready, we're just getting stared at by every single worker there. Every single pro and worker, they're all just staring at us because we're sitting there like
We were so out of place.
yeah, we were so out of place. Like
Colin was wearing his rec jersey, his rec basketball jersey over his jacket. So you just see a group of misfit kids all together. Colin has basketball jersey on
Bright yellow.
Bright yellow.
bright highlighter yellow basketball.
And we're just the loudest ones there. Like if you can picture just the loudest ones being all of
it's a pretty quiet, content room.
Yeah,
and
you
we're
got
just
all
sitting
these,
there
like-
laughing and screaming and just like we're already like getting too hype as soon as we showed up. Like we haven't even left the area to change.
Go up the ski lift barking at people.
We'll get into that.
So anyways, alright. Paint the scene. We got there, alright, we changed, we're out. Now we have to face the first hurdle, and that is the ski lift, because 3 out of the 6 people there have never skied before, never seen a ski. Well, maybe they've seen like a movie or something, but never like been on a ski lift. So we're coming up, and we're kind of trying to. It was Morgan, Colin, and Sully who haven't done it, so we're kind of trying to mentally prep them. We're like, all right.
Let me just say,
Morgan's
I have
Yeah.
I have gone a bunch in the past, but
Oh, yeah, true,
it
I
had
forgot.
just been so long, and I've never been there, so I wasn't used to like how they handle things.
Yeah.
Everyone else, Shane and Marshall both had been there a bunch, so they knew what was going on.
Yeah. So we're mentally prepping them, right? We're coming up to them like, all right, you're going to have to do this and this. This is how you're going to do it, whatever. You got all this build up. You got all these high expectations coming in, right? And so me and Marshall, first two, we walk up, about to go in the lift, right? We're sitting there. And then we walk up, because like there's like a line in front of you, and then you have like another line where, like the first line you stand behind, the second line you stand behind when you want to actually get on it. So you have to go like 2 at a time, 2 to 3 at a time.
And be mindful, right by the ski lifts, there's a little control panel that they use as an emergency stop in case there's like any problems. Like there's like little kids that parents are trying to take on the ski lift and they're having a hard time getting on, so they'll stop it so they can sit down and then they'll have it go again.
So all right, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna say about half the story, not half the story, just a small portion. Morgan, mind you, is about 3 to 4 inches, maybe a foot ahead of the line. Okay, the line that you're not supposed to be in front of yet. And when you have like something like that, you expect in your mind like maybe they have a little bit of wiggle room, maybe like they have like
I was thinking
there's
that-
like it's like a foot further back than it should be just in case someone steps over it. No, it's directly at the point where you should stand, and if not, you're going to die. So Morgan, minding his own business across the line.
The right where the control panel is, there's usually
attendant.
no, there's an attendant or a worker always standing there using the control panel, just monitoring people getting on, making sure there's no problems. Shane and Marshall are both standing there ready to get on, and I'm a little ahead of the line that you're supposed to like wait at until it's your turn. She starts vigorously pointing at me and shaking her hand.
Not saying a word.
She didn't say
No
a word.
words.
No words were spoken out of her mouth. She's just pointing at me with her finger and just rapidly moving her hand back and forth. And so I'm thinking, oh, she's pointing at me to get on. So I walk a little more forward, and next thing I know, the ski lift comes swinging around the little
Lifts
bend, smacks me in my back. I go face first, flat on the ground,
Dragged by the thing.
getting dragged by the ski lift.
And we're all just busting out laughing.
In the back of my mind, I was like, all right, either I'm gonna die or I'm just gonna get a really bad headache because it was bound to hit me in my head. So just quick thinking, I decided to just lay flat on the ground, so it just went right over my head. And in predicaments like that, the attendee or the worker is supposed to stop it, so there's no like further injuries. No, they didn't.
Sucked in.
They didn't stop it. They didn't think twice about it. They literally just let it happen. And then after I get up and I'm trying to gather myself, then she has the audacity to ask me, "Are you all right?" I'm like, I'm shaking it off. I'm trying to act like that was part of my plan or whatever. Back in my mind, I know like I really just messed up there. Like this is really bad because there was a bunch of kids and like what the people behind us looked like they knew what they were doing, and so I was really embarrassed. So after that, I just get back in line, and then I get a second try getting on the lift, and I get it that time. Thank goodness.
I feel like going there, we were like the only like newbies there. You know, everyone else it seemed like so good.
Even the little kids.
Yeah.
Dude,
Even
they
there
were
was like
showing us up.
6-year-olds that were like they were just snowboarding way
Flashing.
better.
We
Yeah,
were like
they
the
were like
only bad ones there.
yeah, we were the only cornballs.
We were definitely
there.
having the most fun there.
Oh, we definitely had
We were definitely the misfits of like the entire like ski.
Like
Like,
barking.
Dude, they wanted us out of there. as quick as
yeah, no,
could.
they wanted us gone, but we had already paid for our tickets, so there was nothing they could do. They just had to let our time play out and just
Yeah.
let it expire.
And then not too long after Morgan gets sucked into the thing, right? We're going back on the ski lift because
So let's just paint this picture real quick. We have
six people there.
It's me and Marshall. No,
Seven.
it's me and Colin. The ski lifts are pretty big. They can fit about 3 or 4 people depending on the size of the people.
We had our whole group spread between 3 lifts.
Yeah, we had
One
three.
after
We
the
had
other.
3 lifts to each other. Me and Colin were in the front, and then there was these kids in front of us, and then there was like I think a dad and a daughter in front of them, and then behind us was Shane and Marshall, and then behind them was Sully there?
I don't think he was.
I don't think he was. So it was just we had it was me and Colin, and then behind us was Shane and Marshall. And then we're like every time we get on the lifts and we're like near each other, either in front or behind, we're always like turning around or facing forward, talking to each other on the way up because it's kind of a slow ride. It takes about like 5 to 10 minutes to get up there because they're pretty big ski lifts. So I don't know how it came up, but Shane started yelling at me, "Who let the dogs out? Put those dogs away!" And so I start barking, and it's a pretty loud consecutive bark. It just keeps on going.
Like a Rottweiler.
It's a pretty deep bark. It's pretty close to sounding like a dog. And there's people under us snowboarding. There's people on the lift in front of us. Everyone around us just stops what they're doing on our way up this
Breaks
lift.
their neck.
Breaking their neck, either looking up or turning around. Because I'm barking, and so is Colin. Colin sounds like
Mine's more of a Yorkie.
yeah, Colin
Yeah,
sounds
more
more like a little like higher pitched dog. I'm more of a deep pitched dog,
Yeah.
and we're just barking. And the people in front of us, the two whatever you want to call them, carts or lifts in front of us, the people are just breaking their necks, like either laughing or just really confused. The people below us are just breaking their necks. They're not really too sure what to do. And that entire ride, we're just barking for like the 5 to 10 minutes that it takes to get up there. And
If that doesn't sum up the trip, I really don't know what does. Just us barking.
but that entire trip, it was filled with lots of rough patches.
Yeah, it was a lot of
Yeah, there was a lot of mistakes that were made on that trip.
Look, we're going. So
It's
I'll explain the build up to this. Like we were on the green slopes for a while, just kind of messing around, getting better. Finally, we work up the courage. Like, all right, we're gonna go to the blue slopes, which is like one up from that.
Oh, we're gonna search for boosters.
Yeah, we go to the blue slopes, and Morgan's going down. This is like way after. This wasn't our first time going down the blue slope. We just kept going down it though. And there's this hole, because it was kind of end of season. Like at this point, like it was like a week ago, so it's not really like too cold there anymore.
yeah.
So the snow starts melting.
Be mindful. We're like 2 weeks before like the official first day of spring, so like
Yeah.
the temperatures aren't ideal for like,
It was like
snowy conditions.
45. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still wasn't that great. So they had some like
Cones set up.
Yeah,
on the
they
parts
had
where the snow melted.
they had orange pillars and cones marked up for like wet and like not really stable parts of the slopes.
Mm-hmm.
And we were always kind of every time we went up the ski lift, we would always see them and like check them out and just try to see what's going on, like what's under the slopes or anything like that. Just trying to figure out what's going on, what it is. And we're all going down down the slopes as a group. and I thought it'd be a good idea to get as close as I can to the biggest hole there is
Okay.
easily the size of like 2 people stretched out.
And it's like when you look into that hole, it's just
an
like
abyss.
it's an abyss.
Yeah,
It's
an
literally
abyss.
just a black hole. Like I don't know how to explain it. You have all this white snow by it, and there's just no light goes in there. It's just I don't know how
It's just
so
a, it's
deep,
just
how
a,
it's
it
so
looks
dark.
like it looks like you're looking down into like a water well. It's just
Yeah.
straight down. It's all black. You can't see a thing. You can't see the bottom of it.
And so I'm down at the bottom of the hill. I'm looking up, and I see Morgan. It's like a black hole. Like he's coming, and it's like there's like a kind of rift down towards it. And I see him slowly getting sucked in. And he's like sliding, falling down into that thing. It's the funniest sight I've ever seen in my life.
So going through my mind, I wanted to get as close as possible because I was so curious. I just wanted to figure out like because I've never seen anything like that. Every time I've went, it's always been like super cold, super snowy. It's always been snowing, and so like the slopes were always covered in like real snow. And I was so curious, and I wanted to get as close as possible. And me not thinking clearly, the snow around it was very loose. It was very wet, and it was almost like quicksand. And as soon as I get near it, my board does a nosedive into the snow, and I fall flat on my face. And it's still wet, and it's still a little icy because it's somewhat cold. So I didn't just stop there as soon as my board dug in. I kept sliding closer and closer to the hole, nearly falling in. And at that point, 2 things were going through my mind. It was either I'm going to get out of this or I'm going straight into that hole and no one's going to find me. And the only thing that's going to be left is my board sticking out of the hole.
And when I went down to Blue, no sure that like group of Chinese people that are next to us.
Yeah.
There was so many people that were just like they were kind of just tourists and sightseeing. They weren't
Yeah.
really there
They
to
weren't
they
prepared
weren't
to
really there to
snowboard.
ski or snowboard. They were just kind of there.
What were you gonna say, Carl?
I was gonna say that family, they went down, and I'm like, I guess they're kind of good. I mean, they went like straight to Blues.
Yeah.
She went white out and lay flat on her face for like a solid minute, and I'm like, oh my gosh, when does someone
dead.
die? Like, she was straight dead right now. Unresponsive. Her friends around her like poking her, trying to wake her up. And I know she like shoots up, like looks around, like there's like in some sort of state of confusion. And I'm like, oh my god, thank God. But she
Dude,
came
the funny thing
back.
about that is at the top of the hill, it literally says can result in death.
Yeah.
That's all. Like, there's just a sign that says you assume all consequences can die.
Yeah. I was like,
Not a very
I
good.
was so
thing to
scared I
say.
just watched someone die and like right in front of their family.
Dude, like when I was going, because I went like 2 weeks before we all went, and that's like what gave like me the idea to go again. And I was going, and there was this girl there, and she was going down the hill. This is the same blue hill we were doing, and she's heading down it, and next thing you know, like she just wipes out or whatever, and like she was kind of like upset, and I just thought she was just like upset that she fell or something. But then I keep going down like 2 or 3 more times, and she literally had like 2 broken legs just chilling there.
Oh my god.
It was terrifying. Like they had like all the people come by in little bobsleds and pick her up. That's scary.
There was like the stereotypical people that were there. There was all the people that are like dressed like they were dressed like very down. They didn't have like all the snow gear on. Some of them were in like we saw a couple people in skinny jeans and like just regular flannels with like
Yeah, they're like pros.
yeah.
man.
There was
Fallen.
wannabe pros there that were just like dressed down and really like didn't look like they were gonna snowboard, but they were just there, just hitting jumps and hitting rails and stuff and just showing everybody up. But at this point in the trip, we're getting to maybe the last like hour or 2 of our time, and then me and Colin are going down this one side of the slope. And it's just me and him. Shane and Marshall are already somewhere else. I think they were on a couple slopes next to us, but they were on their own area. Me and Colin were on our own area, and me and Colin are just snowboarding down. And he's going a little too fast. And this was like your first time
Yeah.
or whatever. This was your first time,
This
and
is my first time, yeah.
he was doing really good for his first time, the best I've seen. But he hit a pretty rough patch, and I was luckily I was behind him to see all of this. I wish I had my GoPro with me because it would have been perfect to record, but I don't truly know what happened. All I remember is I was looking down at my board. I was trying to like focus because I'm still not like I'm not a pro. I'm not the best. I'm far from best. And all I see is him doing a scorpion. His board, his legs and his board are up in the air. His face and upper body's just dragging along the snow, and I see him like flip over, and I see him sitting on it or laying on his back for a second, and then he stands up, or he gets on his knees and is just looking at me. Excuse me, and I say something to him, and he just kind of looks at me like he just doesn't really know what's going on. He doesn't even know where he is or like what the date of today is.
We were convinced he was concussed.
And he hit his head very hard. Like he was the only one out of the group actually wearing a helmet. He was he was definitely the smarter one out of all of us. We definitely should have all been wearing helmets, but us being us, we weren't, and he was the only one. And even with the helmet, he hit his head very hard, and the rest of the trip he was just complaining about how his head hurt. He looked pretty dazed and confused the entire rest of the trip. He kept going with us. He kept keeping up with us, but like we were getting really worried that he was gonna pass out.
I was struggling so hard to keep up with you guys the entire time.
But be mindful, him going down was easily the funniest thing possible.
No, the funny thing about it is like he was so like, I don't know if it was like prideful, but like he just did not want to give up. we were like, he's at the bottom and he's like, dude, my head hurts, and we're like, you gonna keep going? He's like, yeah. Like, are you sure? And like I could tell he was hurt, but I just wanted to keep going, so I was like, all right, whatever. If he says okay.
I would refuse to give up right there. I was like, no, if they're going,
he kept going, and like he's just chugging along. And like I remember, like I kind of waited up for him at one point because I didn't want to leave him alone because I didn't want to like fall in the woods and die. And I really didn't know what was going on, and like he kept falling, and it's just like this, just chugging along. He'd fall, lay there for a couple like seconds to a minute, and then get back up, and like fall. And I was just chugging along. It was the funniest thing.
That's really how I get down the mountain. I purposely fall to slow it down, get back up, fall, and it's like
that's painful falling.
And we were basically setting him up for failure anyways, because like we were trying to teach him the basics of like how to snowboard, how to keep your balance, and like how to move around, and like how to stop yourself. Most importantly, because like you can definitely go too fast if you get the hang of like just going in a straight line, but like not a lot of people know how to stop themselves or slow down. And Colin's way of slowing down was just to fall. And it's just at that point when I realized he really wasn't picking up the stopping portion of the trip, I realized that something bad was bound to happen. What the heck are you doing?
Boofing. No, the funny thing about falling too is like you're connected to a board, so when you fall, it's like the most stiff, awkward ragdoll feeling ever. Like you're just barreling down a mountain. Because you're literally like a board, just stiff, and like your body's just like making all these things it should not be doing.
Because you can't use your legs to prop yourself up or stop yourself. You just have to, wherever that board goes and wherever your upper body goes, the rest of you is just going with it. You're not stopping unless either a rough patch of snow stops you or somehow you manage to pop back up on your board.
I'm surprised someone didn't make an avalanche.
So, we telling a story about you know who?
No, we're not going to put him on blast like that.
Oh, you guys put me on blast.
He's a little insecure. We don't want to hurt his feelings. But,
should we just sum up the trip for him?
So basically, all in all, the trip was still good. There was a little rough. What are you doing? You messing with the mic? Sorry, our host is being a spaz right now, messing with settings on the mic. All in all, the trip was good. The drive there was good. Once we got there and started snowboarding and everything, it was actually really fun. A lot of us were kind of upset that we waited so long to do it because it's the beginning of spring now, and it's just not really ideal conditions to go again. It'll probably be a little... The slopes would probably be a little worse than what they already were, and they were pretty bad when we were there. They were just really wet and really, really just not good. It's just definitely not worth going back again anytime soon.
All in all, been TWB. For anybody wondering.